In the movie of Predators from 2010, the character Hanzo Kawakami fought against the Falconer Predator. Although he won the battle, he also fell in combat. Weeks later, his brother Eiji would also encounter a predator. This was revealed in the book called Aliens vs. Predator: Ultimate Prey, released in 2022. The story was called Kyodai, which means brother. It starts off with Eiji falling through the air, strapped to a parachute, but it was a bit unusual. The jungle or rainforest he was in was massive. When he lands, he looks up. He sees the sun burning a hot white color, but he had no way of knowing if it was rising or going down. He would explore the jungle, but he also heard screams in the air. He would go towards the source. When he reached the site, he looked around. He remained motionless, hoping to see if something else was in the area. He circled around, taking his time to explore the site. He trusted his senses to gather information. Then moving into the clearing, looking for twigs, loose stones, anything. He looked at an open cage, but saw nothing. The interior was big enough for 6 men or one large animal. He looked at the locking mechanism, which appeared to be melted. What was inside the cage, and what was its purpose? But the strange thing was the burn on the lock came from inside the cage. This made no sense. He would try to find the source of that scream he heard earlier. He passed some stalks, which were bent, giving him the direction of where to go. He would later find footprints, which appeared like combat footwear. There were no deals ongoing with his clan that involved any military contractors, and PMCs operating on Japanese soil wouldn't be wearing that. A bit further on, the footprints changed from someone walking to someone running, and the spread of the prints showed the man was running very fast. The white man's body was later found laying in the trees. There was no head. Only the chin and lower set of teeth were left. The rest of the head was a pulpy mess. Something had blown it apart. There was no burn on the body or scorching on the leaves. It's like something melted the head and nothing else. A man's body was later found. It was dressed in non-military camouflage. His gear was left behind, along with the knife and plenty of ammo. But Eiji could not use this ammo, so he took the knife and followed a trail, which could belong to the killer. The weather was extremely hot, so he followed a trail towards the water. He later heard a scream from a man and woman. He picked up his pace, but went off the trail he was following, thinking he might walk into a trap. He later saw several things. There was a monument made from scraps of metal. On top was some type of exotic helmet, but could not tell which culture it was from. It was long and tapered, suggesting it could be a falconer or some other predatory bird. In front of that, he saw what looked like a sheathed sword. The 2 figures he then saw was the man and woman he heard screaming earlier. The woman was blonde and very fit. She ran as she kept firing behind her. The man had a blood-stained uniform, which could be from the Niger Delta region. He too fired behind him. There was something else running through the grass. It was larger and faster, circling around them, planning to ambush them. This thing was not an animal, not something he's ever seen. This thing was a nightmare. Eiji looked at it along the barrel of his pistol. His hands would tremble. It looked like an insect or some kind of bizarre sea creature. It ran on 2 legs and on 4, and had a tail curled over the body. The body had a hard, chitinous shell, kind of like a crab, with bony things coming out of its back. The head had an elongated skull that arched back over its shoulders, the snarling mouth filled with wicked teeth. There were no visible eyes, but Eiji felt he was being watched, or perceived. He wasn't sure how this creature's physiology worked, but it seemed aware of everything. As the creature passed by Eiji's hiding place, it looked toward his direction. As it ran by him, Eiji saw there was a device on the side of the creature's head. The creature then shrieked and twisted as it fell to the ground. Eiji would then see another figure. It too was hideous and strange. It was monstrous, tall and human-like, around 8 or 9 feet. The body was full of muscle and covered in armor of such exotic design. The helmet it wore was like the one he saw on the monument. One hand was clamped on a spear, the other was on some electronic device. The bigger monster's thumb would stop pressing a button, the other creature would rise and stop shrieking. The armored creature would make a sound that was similar to a laugh and press the button again, sending the smaller monster into agony and pain once again. The man and woman from earlier thought they were safe. The armored creature would hold up the device, thumb near the button, but not pressing it. The smaller creature would see this and just backed off. It was like it was evaluating the situation and then it understood what the device did. The smaller creature knew it had to obey. It then went on to chase the humans, first on 2 legs, then it moved faster on 4. The armored thing would follow. Eiji then understood. The large one was the hunter. The small one was being trained as its hunting dog. When they were gone, Eiji moved out of the shadows, moving slowly and quietly. He looked around for any movement, but he believed he was alone. Those things were not of this world. They were not people in costumes, nor was it CGI. This was a real-world encounter. He looked up to try to find out where he was, or at least find out which way was east or west, south or north, and noticed other planets, moons, and alien worlds, including this one. He thought of ending himself. He then stopped looking at the sky and started breathing normally. He thought about what was going on. People were being hunted. All of them were military personnel or tough armed fighters, but they had no connection to each other. The device on the insectoid creature was a pain-controlling device. If the device was removed, the insectoid might go for the armored creature. Eiji thought about the armor on the large creature. It covered the body except for the arms and legs. He noticed the weaponry of this creature was different from Earth tech, and he thought about acquiring it for himself. He later went back to the monument to look around. He saw a helmet. It was welded from scraps of metal. He found a katana that was very old and beautifully made, but he did not touch it. Instead, his eyes went elsewhere. He saw a stylized ancient Japanese warrior on a war hearse, a Sengoku-era samurai and ninja that served the Tokugawa clan, a fierce fighter, a master swordsman that died more than 4 centuries ago. And then he saw it. He knew that tattoo. He knew it so well. The mystery of his brother's disappearance was now solved. The skin from his brother's back was cut and placed here. Hanzo was taken here, to this alien jungle world. They were all taken here as prey. But Hanzo Kawakami was not shot down like the others. He fought one of these hunters. Eiji then got memories of when he would train with his brother. Hanzo was gifted and excelled at combat, to a point where nobody else would train with him. He then understood what that monument was for. The sword he saw, the helmet and bladed gauntlet, it was a war memorial of some kind. That sword and gauntlet matched. They were used in a duel. Hanzo defeated one of those creatures in combat, but he did not survive. Eiji would then take the katana and bowed in his brother's memory. He drew the weapon and listened to the sound of the ancient steel. It looked like the photos of the blades in the Tokugawa family. Eiji believed this was the sword that Hanzo used on an alien world to fight against a hunter in combat. He then ran off to find the monsters. They were hunters, but so was he. He found the body of the man from earlier. His back was open, and his spine was missing, as if it was torn out of the body. This was not food for the hound. It was merely a trophy. As he entered the forest, following the tracks, he found the woman's body. There was a big fight. Trees and rocks were melted. He saw pieces of black chitinous shell, and some rocks were melted by something. This could mean the hound has acid for blood. Eiji also saw splashes of a luminous green substance. The splash patterns were consistent to gunshot wounds. The woman's body was there. Her skull and spine were also taken, and so he learned what's going on and moved on. These large hunters would track and challenge the strongest of prey. The monument was possibly a way to tell the story of previous battles, so they could learn from each other and become better hunters, and now they would make things more difficult by using this insectoid creature as a hound. He later would come across 3 hunters, but they were stylistically different. They each would have a hound, and they were all on the ground in pain. Eiji would watch as the hunters spoke in their language. Then 2 hounds were released, as 2 hunters would follow them. As they vanished, the air around them seemed to shimmer. The remaining hunter set up a cooking pot, filling it with water. When the water was boiling, it poured a liquid inside and dropped the 4 spines and skulls inside, cleaning the trophies. Eiji would move in slowly, but he made a sound. The hunter quickly turned around with its massive bladed gauntlet. On its shoulder, a device that looked like a video camera. Then, 3 dots appeared on Eiji's chest, which meant it was a weapon. Eiji would brush away at the lasers and hold the sword in his hand. It was not just a challenge, but to make the hunter look at the sword, so it understood what it was. The hunter knew and gave a single nod. The hunter removed its helmet. Small tubes fell away, hissing with exotic gases. The face of the hunter was truly fashioned in hell. Eiji felt fear, but fear was always there. Only a fool says it has no fear. He was aware of the tortured hound watching them. He saw the device was clipped on the hunter's belt. Eiji was smaller, but faster. He could parry the attacks of the hunter. He would not charge like Hanzo did. Instead, Eiji would wait for the hunter to charge. Eiji would cut the hunter's back and side, passing through tough muscle and organs. If the organs were in the same place as humans, then surely they were damaged. The hunter would stagger and howl, and blood would splash on the ground. It would attack again, only for Eiji to cut its right bicep. He would use the small moment to pivot and do a lateral cut to the side of the head. The monster was too tall, so the cut landed on the back of the neck. The hunter stood up. Its eyes had a look of surprise. Then the head fell off and thumped on the floor, rolling near the crouching hound. But the body stood there for a moment. Then it moved sideways and fell. Eiji picked up the fallen control device. He was aware the hound was watching. He was thinking this hound wanted to attack the hunters that put these devices on its head. Eiji would destroy the device and cut off the implant from the head of the hound. Eiji would show the head of the hunter to the hound and mimed the same cut he did to take it down. He would toss the helmet away in the direction the other hunters had gone. He would look back at the hound, waiting for it to make a choice. Was it going to run away, attack Eiji, or go with him into the jungle against the others? The hound would run into the jungle, following the trail of the other hunters. They would team up, hunting the hunters. Even with their different languages, they both knew the biggest danger were the armored hunters. And that is where the story ends. Eiji Kawakami teamed up with an alien to hunt 2 more predators that controlled 2 other aliens. We don't know what happened after this. The end.